Ananda Banerjee is an award-winning environmental journalist and author, and we are delighted to have him with us today at the Assam Tribune.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
having me.
Ananda, for being with us today. My first question to you is Kaziranga National Park has India's second highest tiger density with 1.3 tigers per 100 square kilometer. And according to the latest government data on International Tigers Day, which was released on International Tigers Day last year, there are around 227 tigers in Assam. On the other hand, land from indigenous ethnic communities are being given away to the private hospitality industry. So my question to you is, if the natural resources of Assam are not the heritage or are not, they're not being utilized by the people or for the people, who are they for? And who should they belong to rightfully?
See, first thing first, we shouldn't bang our heads on numbers, tiger numbers. These are numbers to be left with the scientists who monitor tigers, study them, and the forest department who manages. Because these are trends. It can change anytime. So we shouldn't chase numbers. And the national park is a human construct. Nature doesn't know boundaries. Even the tiger doesn't know borders of a national park. It'll go wherever it chooses to be. So first thing first, to our audience and all, don't just these are not numbers etched in stone. They're constantly changing and thing. Land, yeah, and national parks should be thought of just like a nursing home or a hospital where humans like us, we go and give birth to new ones. So it's a protected area for nature to flourish. But they need space, just as you said that there's a lot of land use changes. Yes, there is, and I am also been reading recently on reports of land use changes around Kaziranga, and Kaziranga's is not that Kaziranga when I first came 20 years ago. There are lots of hotels, lots of the density of people I see are more. Oh, that's an issue, but I don't think also the floodplains is a place for settlements. Huh. If it was part of the greater Kaziranga landscapes, people need to be moved to safety because it's quite dangerous to stay in a floodplain because of the changing course of the river and the fluctuating monsoons, and now that we have climate change and extreme weather. Yeah, but people who have been moved from a certain area needs to be compensated as per the law of the land and to be given a proper place to stay. They shouldn't be. In terms of hotels and new infrastructure, see, you need development. I'm not against development as an environmentalist, but these has to be designed intelligently. Yeah, because there is growth, there is tourism. Local people are getting revenue out of new tourism. But these are very difficult questions to answer because how much tourism can Kaziranga take, and what is responsible tourism? Because now tourism has been driven by social media that everybody, if I post a picture from Kaziranga, 10 friends of mine want to go there and post the same picture. Right. So that's a very dangerous trend. So these are things to be discussed. The society needs to introspect. People who are traveling to these sensitive places need to introspect. But this is not a fun place to be. When people go there for selfies, it's extremely. This is a place to relax, to connect with nature. But unfortunately, what I see is our national parks are becoming entertainment zones. People want to click a picture with an elephant or a tiger. If they don't see a tiger, then the place becomes bad.
The question is also related to that we have seen a lot of videos coming out of Kaziranga and elsewhere where jeeps are being chased by rhinos and other species elsewhere. So what is the bigger picture here, and what is the word of caution for people like us who travel to these wildlife sanctuaries and our viewers and readers?
See, one is Kaziranga and many other national parks have seen influx of tourism since the advent of mobile phones and much digital the camera systems have advanced. But one has to keep a respectable distance from wildlife. There is a invisible line. But unfortunately, people for that extra close-up or picture, how things are, that extra angle or close-up, that the line is crossed, and that animal is in discomfort and it charges. So those are the videos which goes around in WhatsApp, and different narratives are built around those. Yeah, it's a very different. No, it's not. It's unfortunate. It's what's happening with tourism, with people going really close to animals is very unfortunate.
So there's more economy and ecotourism then.
Yeah, I keep asking. That's a good question you asked, because I said I keep asking, what is ecotourism? Is it ecological or only economy? Yeah. Because even if you ask a lot of people what is eco in tourism, so people will take some minutes to answer what the eco is. So it's all economy. I don't see any ecological part. Yeah.
It's economy and not ecology. And also leading back to the first question when we spoke about compensation. So the indigenous communities are not really looking for compensation because many of them have lived there for generations and they've struggled with floods, and floods, as we all know, they're both bad and good aspects of flood, and they learn how to live with floods. Floods are not something that they do not really know how to mitigate. And likewise animals, natural or otherwise, they've lived with them since a long time. And as we all know that wildlife parks or national sanctuaries and all of that are very recent, but they have been protected by the communities who live there. So
that's true. But see, times have also changed. These communities also can't be neglected. They can't be remain there. The new generations from the community have aspirations. They have mobile phones. They just dress up just like us. So values have changed. People who say that those are the rightful owners of the land, that's one point of view. But within the ethnic communities, their value systems, their aspirations have also changed. Their populations have also grown. So there is a carrying capacity of the land. Nature resources are not endless. So those have to be studied by sociologists. I am not the right person to answer those. But those are things sociologists should study, and with wildlife biologists should understand, or we will get more and more wildlife and human-wildlife conflict in those areas. So people also have to be moved to a safer place.
So Ananda, what are your observations on human-animal conflicts, specifically in Assam or the Northeast? Because I know you have traveled a fair bit in this.
See, I keep seeing videos, especially on elephants, and I keep telling, I was with family earlier this day, and I was telling them that the elephant is a migratory species. We don't consider, because we are not taught in school, that the elephant is our biggest pollinator. We only studied in our school that the bee pollinates the flower then becomes a fruit, so on and so forth. But you can't keep a herd of elephant in one forest, because the food requirement of an elephant and the water requirement equally is enormous. So if an elephant stays in one patch of forest, it will just eat up the forest. So the elephant needs to always move. So that's why, like as you said, of ethnic communities, the elephant has moved from one place to the another forest space, and along its way it's eaten, and its dung has created new plants and flora basically. So it's the biggest, we call it the gardener of the forest. Now we are in, for example, like I was pondering, we are in Guwahati city, and there's a place called Hathigao. So why Hathigao? And have people thought about it? Once upon a time, must elephants have moved from that place regularly, used that space, and now you've seen what Hathigao is. It's all taken by us. So where do you know the elephant will go? It's the elephant god we worship, and now we are at war with that same god.
Tell us a little about your work with Amur Falcons in Nagaland and especially I want you to dwell on the role of the church here, because I believe that the church has a big say in Naga social life, and it was interesting that they had like special Sunday services where they spread the message of conservation. So, is it a model that can be emulated in other northeastern states, and how exciting was this?
Yeah, it was firstly, this was quite a long back in terms of,
Yeah,
it was like
yeah. But a lot of
13 years back,
viewers
when
don't know about
some
it.
of my friends basically discovered this mass massacre of Amul falcons in the Doyang Reservoir way back in 2011. And I went for the next period of migrancy, and in 1 year, from mass killings to the communities protecting the birds, it was an incredible turnaround story. Yeah, I don't think in the entire country such quick turnaround from has happened in recent memory. And it was an incredible sight. Like it's a countless falcons in the sky. It's like bees, swarm of bees just taken over the skyline, morning skyline. Yeah, and the community, we basically what happened is there was a lot of pressure from conservationists, the media, also the local media, the pride of the Naga pride was touched upon, basically that our hunting is basically giving a bad name to the community, and the church stepped in with its service and summons. So a combination of all the sociological factors brought in that Naga pride, and they said, no, we are not going to hunt again, and let the birds fly. And the stories were told that they are coming from a region in Amur in China and Russia, flying 11,000 kilometers to South Africa. And why they are going to South Africa? Because when it's winters, South Africa summers. So that's the harvest season for, and that is the time the locust, one of the main food of the falcons, come. So if the falcons don't reach South Africa, the agriculture will just get devastated. So the falcons go there to eat, and they have this elliptical journey.
10 days in Nagaland.
Yeah, about a week, over a fortnight, and they then come towards the western coast of India. Then some researchers from the Wildlife Institute had put radio transmitters, and they figured they fly non-stop over the Arabian Sea to South Africa. Incredible stories. And I think the Amur falcon is a great example of community pride and how the community stepped up to protect the species. So it's fascinating. It's been amazing to be part of that, to see that change actually.
Okay. So Ananda, you're also a photographer, which I know from scrolling through your Instagram feed that you take great photos. But especially for our young viewers and readers here, I wanted you to tell us what are some of the things that we need to keep in mind when we do nature or wildlife photography, because there are some things, there are some ethical standards that.
Yeah, in. There are certain rules. It's not my rules. It's kind of things that,
sure.
Especially as a birder like me, don't go close to nesting species, any birds, and don't take, because then you're disrupting the process. Just keep a distance. That the earlier part I was saying, there's a fine thin line of comfort zone between. So that should be maintained, and but you have to be ethical, because nobody can teach you. You have to respect nature actually. And I can't put a gun on your head and say don't do this. It should come from within you, that
respect that you have to accord by you.
Yeah, because what's happening today is people are clicking to post, their social media things, and to get likes and followers and all these. I think that's wrong. Your nature photography, your landscape should be for your own, to generate awareness, to storytelling. It has to come. You have to develop your own style. Technicalities you can learn from your peers and seniors. but the style, the way you want to tell a story to, it has to come from you. That creative part nobody can teach.
But you touched upon one very important thing, which is respect for nature.
Yeah, you have to have respect for nature.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to give time also. You can't expect that every time you go to, say, Kaziranga, you will see a tiger or you see something great.
Yeah, yeah. And be careful with the equipment as well, because the light you're carrying or
Yeah, the equipment part is another world, because every year the new equipment comes, it is getting more expensive.
yeah.
So that's a deep well.
Yeah.
But one, I think I can say that you can take great photographs with even very basic equipment. So
Yeah, I know my point was about light and all that.
yeah, photography is all about light, understanding light. Technical things you can pick up, you can spend as much money as you want, but light is the main
also
thing.
Make sure that the animal is comfortable, because you might not want to set up lights at a time when you know. So thank you, Ananda.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. It was short and sweet, not very long, and we wish you all the best. But before we let you go, we want to ask you what you're working on right now. Is there anything exciting that you want to leave our viewers with?
A couple of books which I can't reveal much.
So this is the space for you to talk about.
A couple of books. I also now work on sustainability things, help corporates and industries design their CSR work apart from the conservation work that I do. So because I feel the India Inc., the corporates and all have a big role to play in kind of conserving environment. Because nature has never sent us a bill. I learned it from a senior of mine. And resources are not endless. So we have to basically respect them collectively and see that the choices we are making today is the future we are making, basically.
Right. The choices we're making today, they make for a better future.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do not forget to like, share and subscribe to the Assam Tribune.